They have prepared in every Muslim country their options for how to destabilize it. This is all mawjood, this is all present. It just has to be activated. And doesn't mean that, obviously, that if they activate it, it will succeed.
Yeah.
Of course not. But the point is, it's a threat, it's a danger. And there's no Muslim country that's immune from this.
Yeah, and they have all
Including
this-
Malaysia, Indonesia, everywhere. They have these, in fact, it's not just Muslim countries, it's every country. This is when the U.S. has decided that their jurisdiction is Earth, is planet Earth, then they have contingency plans for every country that matters to them. Strategic, that matters to them strategically, economically, geostrategically, and so on. They have contingency plans for every country of how to destabilize that country. And obviously our countries happen to be the most important countries. And the most that they have for a very long time known that subordination isn't in our nature. So if they want us to be subordinate, it has to be enforced by force and by threat and by coercion. And they know that the moment we have the opportunity to act with sovereignty and autonomy, we do it. It's not our nature to be subordinate. So in other words, they are very cognizant of the risk or the danger posed by Muslim countries. That there's always a danger that if we have the opportunity to act independently, we will. There's these factions, like you know, even the John Mearsheimer's and so on. The hard part is that they have, they still think in nationalities. They still think they have a patriotism, and so they're worried about U.S. influence and so-called national interest and so on. And the people in power aren't thinking like that anymore. Nobody's thinking like that. So you might be worried, but there's nothing you can do about it because the OCGFC are leaving you. All of these geopolitical analysts and so on. This is why, because they still think in the nation-state mindset. They still think in the nationality mentality, where they think that policy is now has anything to do with so-called national interests, has anything to that America does this or that or the other because it's good for America. No, that has nothing to do with it. And policy is being dictated by the private sector, for whom the policy is good and beneficial, and it's demonstrably, observably, unmistakably against the interests of the nations whose elected policymakers are making these policies, because those policymakers do not work for the nations that elected them. So when you're a geopolitical analyst and you still think in that nation-state mindset, none of this makes any sense to you. You're baffled. Why is the U.S. doing this? Why is Europe doing this? Why is Germany doing this? It doesn't make any sense because the outcome is predictable. Conflict and war and poverty, destruction of your economy, all of these things are predictable outcomes. And so you're because of the way that you're approaching it, because of your mentality, you can't understand why they're doing it. It's baffling. It's almost as if they want the outcome that is the predictable outcome of these policies. Well, yes, they do. That's exactly what they want. Because that's what is wanted by the people who they really work for, which is the OCGFC. So you really, the only way that you can make sense of what's going on in the world is if you understand this reality, that private sector power has subordinated national power, which is why I said there's no point in even actually describing the U.S. as a crusader state or a marauder state or this or that or the other state. It's a subordinate state. That's what it is. It's just a very powerful arsenal of policy options and abilities to enforce policy that can be used by the OCGFC. That's all it is. It's a very powerful weapon and a very powerful tool.